As you know, Australian bikers are a varied lot, and in today's show we check out everything from fast to slow and some that just don't go. Hello, I'm Jonesy and welcome to another episode of Aussie Bikers. First up, we're going to take a ride on an iconic road to the 10th anniversary of the Bathurst Street and Custom Motorcycle Show.
We're in McGrath's Hill, just near Windsor. We're meeting here today to go for a ride out to the Bathurst Motorcycle Show. We've got an awesome day. The weather is perfect, not too hot, not too cold, and not wet. We've got a bunch of guys riding here, plenty of people to come on all sorts of bikes. We're heading straight over the mountains, over the Bells Line of Road. Now, if you haven't ridden the Bells Line of Road, it is a great, windy, twisty, free-flowing road, and it should be a lot of fun. So, just going to encourage everyone to ride at their own pace, enjoy the day, and get to the Bathurst show to see all the bikes. Looking forward to it.
It's got some nice sweepers. Coming over the top there is just absolutely brilliant. The cold air is awesome. Even in summer, it's nice and cool, and that's what I like on a ride.
Mate, today was one of those perfect days. It was sunny, cool, tail into summer, open road. It was just fantastic. You certainly find the floorboards pretty quickly in some of the corners, but really nice.
A couple of years ago, we thought about, get a mate of mine get up one end of Nasho, I'll get up the other end of Nasho, and we'll just take some pictures. We'll come up with a nice, good price that's fair for everyone, and off we go. 3 years later, I've sold like 17,000 photos now, which is pretty awesome. We've donated over $7,000 of income back to charities. The White Ribbon Ride, the Pink Ribbon Ride, and anything like that. The Black Dog Ride's coming up, doing the same thing. We're auctioning a nice canvas that I put together when I went to the Isle of Man from the photos I took there. So, I get to ride, I get to take photos. Just love it.
Look, we got through Richmond. The 2 corners in Richmond were fine. In fact, out of the 7 corners we had to deal with, we survived them all. No dramas, a good cruise, good bunch of guys. It's quite nice being at the front, although I think you put me at the front for a reason. No one else wanted to wear fluoro, did they? I'm pretty sure about that. No. So I was that guy, wood duck, like they call me. Yeah.
We're at the Bathurst Street and Custom Motorcycle Show 2018, and it's looking really good. The weather's perfect. The people are here, and there's lots of chrome and bling.
Behind us, we've got 200 bikes. We've got the riders, they've got the families, they've got, jumping castle, there's kids with them. It's just a wonderful event, and Bathurst is very proud to have it. This is the 10th time that the Show and Shine event and your group of people have been up here. We're just so happy to have them. Streets closed off. We've done perfect weather. What more could you want?
Primarily it's a bike show, so people have brought their bike to put on display, and we're going to judge it. There's a few different categories, like best paint and best bike of show, and a few other different categories. And so people have brought their bike to show off the things that they've done to their bike. So some people have made some changes to their bike. They've heavily customised it. Other people have just kept their old bike going for many, many years. So it's something they love and they cherish and they pour their heart into. So people have come to show that off, and other people have come to have a look at it. But of course, we've got some trade displays up and down the street, selling things that are related to motorcycling, clothing, some parts, other bits and pieces.
We supply aftermarket Harley parts for like a wide range of the Harley-Davidson range. A lot of performance and stunt kind of parts, like make your Harley handle and last. This is my 2006 Harley Dyna. This is the first one that I built to wheelie and do stunts on. Pretty much every part on it come out of the States because it's hard to build a stunt-ridden Harley-Davidson here. I also now have got the 2018 lowrider. It's the first lowrider built in Australia and worldwide. I just had to get one, and I had to be the first to do it.
Thank you all for being here. Bathurst, of course, as you know, is the home of motorsport. The bikes at Easter were traditional. So many years ago, I think 1989 was the last time that happened. That's nearly 30 years ago. That's hard to believe. No bikes at Mount Panorama at Easter time. But hold your horses, folks. The bikes will be back.
Hursty started this show 10 years ago. It was really out of his passion to see motorcycles come back to Bathurst, to motorcycle racing in particular, to come back to Bathurst. So it was one of the things that he could do to start lifting the profile of motorcycling in Bathurst. And that, I think, has been part of the new initiative for the local council to start building a new racetrack for motorcycles.
Watch this space. This time next year, hopefully we've got better news or more news. I mean, this is great news. We'll have even better news for you next year.
And the People's Choice Award presented by Aussie Bikers goes to entry number 39, owned by Kiwi Dave. It is the 2003 Harley-Davidson Softdale Deuce.
Oh yeah, it's quite a surprise. Yeah, especially this, there's a lot of nice bikes out there. It's just been different, there's not many Deuces around anymore, and being 100th anniversary, they're getting quite rare out there.
Now we come to the Greg Hurst Memorial Award. So the best bike and show, as voted by our judges, goes to entry number 61, owned by Ian McKay, the 2008 Custom Godfather.
Well, Tangerine paint. It's got a 127 cube engine, 300 rear tyre. Normally I get best custom out of it, but to win top of show, that's really put a highlight to my day.
I mean, you can't come to Bathurst and not do a hot lap. It's a must if you like your motorsport and you ride yourself. I wish just one day our dream may come true and we can do a fast lap, so legally. I reckon we would do really well if we could open it up, but the boys in blue keep an eye on us, so we have to keep our itchy wrists a bit back. It just makes you appreciate what those champions do when they come through the S's up the top, and you go through there at 60 k's and you get the tyres squealing, and they do it in triple as fast. So it's just an ultimate experience to be able to go around the world famous racetrack on your own machine and have a little play.
So, you want to go racing, but you also want to keep your licence. Well, here's a solution. Do a track day. It's a great way to give it the berries in a safe environment. And that's exactly what this bunch of Ducati riders like to do. Let's go to Sydney Motorsport Park now and have a look.
We're at ARDC, Eastern Creek. We've got a ride day on, a Ducati ride day on. It's an event we run every year for the New South Wales Ducati Owners Club.
Personally, I think anybody that ever gets on two wheels needs to do a track day because stay upright, they're amazing people. They've got 6-7 experts here right now and they will tell you the best way to ride your bike efficiently, safely and enjoyably. Anybody can get on a bike and whack the right hand and go fast on a straight. Going around a corner takes some skill. These people teach us. So I encourage all of our members to do track days, get it out of your system so when you're on the road you're not going to come off and hit a bloody lamppost.
The Ducati Owners Club New South Wales have put on a fantastic day today. This has been pretty well organised. There's not been very many stoppages. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of people here having a great time and there's nothing but the sound of all day here in Ducatis.
I love Ducatis. They feel good and they ride well, and monsters are just awesome like mine. You just throw it around, easy as, and it just does what you want it to do.
We've got 4 different groups out there, 4 different levels. We've got red, which is fastest, green, yellow and white, which is a slow group. We try and cater for everyone's needs out there.
I'll be honest, I came out here on a learner legal monster, and I've sort of got the bug and been coming ever since. But I think for the average young rider, and I've probably been doing it now for 10 years, I think that this is the only place to ride, because we've all got egos, we all want to ride pretty quickly, and at least we're all going in one direction. You can ride as hard and as fast as you like with people of the similar skill level, and you can do it in a pretty safe way.
I philosophically believe that club members should get the best out of their motorbike safely, and to do that should do at least one ride day a year. And the other reason we should do it is, irrespective of what club you're in, Ducatis are motorcycles that are designed to be race bikes and they're turned into road bikes. You've got fellas like Craig McMartin, I think 8 times national Pro Tours champion, that's walking around helping ordinary blokes like you and me enjoy their bike. Craig's a wonderful, approachable person to speak to.
Craig is a million-time Pro Twins champion sets it all up for me, which is wonderful because, once again, being a heavier guy, I need to have suspension very different to your average rider.
My personal opinion is the track is a good place to learn skills. Everyone's going the same direction. There's no cars coming out of side streets, dogs running on the road. This is a good place to come out and, do your speed and have your fun on the racetrack, and then it sort of numbs down the need to go sitting on the road.
I figure if you can start doing something at close to 200 kilometres an hour, 250 kilometres an hour into turn one here, you can do pretty much any sort of speed that you want. You can compensate differently as well at road speeds for changing conditions. I think that these are the sort of skills that you'll only be learning on the halfway on the road, but something you can do a lot easier here.
Skill is one part of riding. Mental attitude is probably the most important part of it.
If you're running off the track, you're trying too hard. You just got to focus on having a little bit of fun.
But everyone's having a good one, and I think we've only had a couple of minor off, so happy, real happy.
It's not about racing, it's about having an experience that optimises the potential of what you're riding, and that's what's special about riding a Ducati at any time, but especially at a racetrack.
Yeah, it's just family, Ducati family, and I just love them to bits.
Once a year, a bunch of bikers get together with politicians for breakfast. Yeah, it sounds a little odd, but it's actually a great way to raise awareness of motorcycling issues and dispel some of the negative stereotypes surrounding those who choose to travel on two wheels. One federal politician even brings his Harley along to get a quick ride in before Parliament.
We're here to reiterate that it's Motorcycle Safety Month, Motorcycle Awareness Month. Important that we're safe on our roads, whether we're on a motorbike, in a car, in a truck, or even on a push bike.
There's a few parliamentarians that actually ride. For instance, today we had Brad Hazard, who's a rider himself, and he's turned up in his riding gear, which is really good to see.
I think there's certainly some stigmas around bikers in a sense, and some of them a bit how do you do, but most of us are pretty damn good. And we have fun, and we're out there enjoying life, and we need to be kept safe. We have to be reminded to keep ourselves safe, but we also need to remind motorists that we have a right to the road as well.
The idea is to get members of Parliament to come down and engage with motorcyclists, to hear their passion of riding, and to hear some of the issues around riding and driver awareness.
We're going for a ride before Parliament, which is fantastic.
Every year he jumps on a bike and comes for a ride with us, and happy to promote motorcycling and to give motorcyclists an ear in Parliament.
The parliamentarians' ride is particularly important because it gives a chance for parliamentarians to experience what it's like on the bike and the hazards that we face.
We went past the front of Parliament House and then around Oxford Street area, then down Darlinghurst Road, down to the Wharf and back along past Harry's Cafe de Wheels and then back around up to Parliament. So it was a fairly short ride. I like going from Darlinghurst Road down to Harry's. It's nice sweeping bends, and so for being 5 minutes from Parliament House, it's probably one of the nicer roads in town.
We now continue our adventure around the globe with the team from World on Wheels. This week, Mike and Denise are taking us to exotic Morocco.
I'm confident in saying that we do the most comprehensive tour of Morocco of anyone in the world. We start actually in southern Spain and then head across the Straits of Gibraltar into northern Morocco. We head down through the centre and heading to places, of course, that everybody knows, like Marrakesh, and then out to the Atlantic coast. There's a spot on the Atlantic coast that Mike and I like a lot called Essaouira, which is a lesser known aspect of Morocco, but a very enjoyable artisan type place.
Surfing beaches.
Yeah, a lot of surfing beaches. And then we head to the desert. So of course we spend time in the Sahara and in fact go out overnight in the Sahara, which is a very special experience, staying in a bivouac. And then we come back and there's a couple of gorges in Morocco, the Dardes and Todja Gorge, which are fantastic riding, so very special fun riding. And then we make our way up through eventually to Fez and up round the Mediterranean and back up to northern Morocco.
And during the course of all of this, we traverse not one but 3 sets of the Atlas Mountains. So the high Atlas is further north, the median Atlas is in the middle, and the low Atlas is further south down towards the Saharan Desert.
And a mountain range lesser well known but also equally spectacular are the Rif Mountains.
Our bike supplier is a BMW only shop, so we have the full range of GS models available to us, any model GS you like.
Which is a great bike for the terrain. There's some fantastic roads in Morocco, fantastic riding roads.
Beautiful riding. We don't actually go off-road at any point in time, but when we get to the fringes of the Sahara Desert, there can be some sand drifts across the road which can catch people by surprise. The BMWs are dual-purpose, dual-sport motorcycles, so up on the pegs and a bit of throttle and weight over the rear wheel and no trouble at all.
And occasionally we might ride through a sandstorm.
Yeah,
you never know what's up ahead. It has been known.
We visit Chefchaouen, which is very close to the Mediterranean coast. And Chefchaouen is unique because the entire city has been blue washed. So it's been through colonisation by French and Spanish. The village of Chefchaouen up in the Rif Mountains is very spectacular and a beautiful little town. Moroccan hospitality is sensational. Moroccan cuisine as well, one of Denise's favourites.
No more tagines. Something that most people don't know is we actually went into Morocco because a number of years ago it was a significant birthday for me, and my choice was for us to go and ride motorcycles in Morocco, and we loved it so much that we turned it into a tour. One of the things I love the most about Morocco are some of the really special places that we stay on tour. We stay in a lot of very traditional venues which are really exquisitely beautiful. Although it's always about the riding and always about the travelling and seeing the country, it's also really nice to arrive somewhere quite special at the end of the day and somewhere that is completely different to what you might be used to. That's certainly one of the personal highlights for me.
Some might say that I'm obsessed with bikes, and I guess they'd be right. But have a look at this guy. His obsession with 2-stroke race bikes is pretty out there. Like, he's got them in his house. Let's have a look.
It's the smell, the sound, the power band. If you haven't ridden a 2-stroke and the first time you feel that power band, it's like a turbocharged car, but more. You struggle to keep the front wheel down. It's the lightness of the bike, they're a lot lighter. Flick them around, you know, they buzz around. Nothing like it. Hello guys, coming in. The riders are in the garage, the non-riders are in the dining room. It's super fun. They're not going down, they're appreciating. They're getting harder to find, and parts are getting harder to find. You've got to be a bit resourceful. Gumtree and eBay are your friend. You go on Facebook, you've got Australian smokers, Aussie 2-strokes, Sydney smokers. You need a part for a bike, you put it up there. Hey, I need one of these, has anyone got one? Always somebody comes on and says, yeah, I've got one, I'll help you out. Sometimes they even give you it free, just to keep the 2-strokes going, you know. This is a matching numbers RD 350LC, 1981, and these were the ones that broke the mold. These were the forerunner for all the RGVs and everything else. Slowly but surely I started from the frame, got the frame powder coated, and bit by bit rebuilt the engine, bit by bit built it up, and this is what it is today. It's probably my favourite 2-stroke, one of the first ones I did, and I've never ridden it. It's a piece of art for me, and that's why it's in the dining room. It's never had fuel in it. This is my little workshop. I'd love it to be twice the size and then I could actually do more work, but everything happens in this little corner here. Mainly rebuilding the engines, 2-stroke engines, pretty simple. You have the crank, which is all pressed together. The bearings don't come out, so you have to pull it all apart and put it back together with new bearings and things. The engines are really quite simple. You just got your gears there, 2 halves, that goes on top of there, and then you've got your pistons and your barrels on top of that. No camshafts, no cam chains, no valves, no valve adjustments, nothing, just up and down, up and down, up and down. This is where it all happens. And believe it or not, all of those bikes there, well 90% of them, were actually built here. This is my latest little project. Doesn't look much at the minute, but when it's finished, it should be pretty cool. They're not rocket science, but when you've got it right and it's going and it's good and it's regoed, you'll regret it. You know? That's how to do it. Just buy one and work it out from there.
There are some great biker mags out there, and here is one of my favourites, a Heavy Duty magazine, and the next issue is jam-packed with all sorts of cool stuff. What about this, a 1930 Harley-Davidson DAR racer? There were none left in the world, but David Reedy set about building one using parts that he sourced from all around the globe. It's no small feat, that's for sure. Everyone has seen a custom V-Rod on the road, but wait till you see this one from Smith's Concepts in Sydney. This is honestly the best custom V-Rod I've ever seen. Also in this issue, this superb chopper built from scratch. It took out first prize at the famous Born Free Custom Motorcycle Show in LA. Plus, there's a 10-page tech talk where Doc Robertson answers all your questions about stuff technical. All this and so much more, get your hands on a copy today. The Finke Desert Race is known as one of the world's hardest off-road challenges, in which it cripples cars, bikes, buggies, everything. The CBR Fireblade is one of the greatest sports bikes ever made. How would it go on sand though? How would it? Have a look at this.
My name's Darren Goulder and I'm the rigid rider. Started as a 1995 CBR 900RR Fireblade. It was the fastest, lightest bike I could find at the time. Now turned into rigid turbocharged chopper. Well, it originated first turning a sports bike into a chopper. Everyone said can't do it. Then everyone said you can't ride rigid. Then I decided to do Fraser Island, Blitz Fraser Island. So then went to Simpson Desert, done Big Red, and I thought, what's the next biggest challenge I could do? And what else is there besides Finke?
It's a brutal race. You know, we spend a lot of time there practicing and getting the bikes gelled in and learning the track and stuff. And you know, it's one of those events where you're either going to get through and be all right, or you're going to have dramas and struggle.
Done about 8 Finkes in the last 12 years.
I podiumed twice, and I won the 450 class in 2015 there.
Oh, it's always been a good experience. Finished every Finke, which is a good thing.
For me, it's probably the last thing I'd want to ride down the Finke Desert track, besides the quad.
A lot of people think I've raked the frame, but the frame's actually standard. It's just dropped at the arse end, car tyre on the back, Honda Fury front forks, 4-degree rake, 21-inch front wheel, and the turbo's off a Nissan 300 ZX.
It doesn't look very comfortable. It's got a lot of power. Tyres are probably not what I'd have on a bike for going to a desert race, but it'd be good on the road sections for sure.
Well, to start it, these are 110 kilograms. I'm not sure how heavy Darren's is, but it looks about 200. Big suspension travel, knobbly tyres like Josh said, steering damp, they're just designed for it. That's why everyone races them.
With the bike being a lot heavier than the trail bikes, it's going to be more in my legs than actually having suspension.
It's not going to be able to ride the whoops fast. We skim across the top and we sometimes miss, you know, 3 or 4 at a time and jump holes, and we get away from the nasty things, whereas he's going to be in every one of those holes.
So the bike actually sticks to the whoops, so you can't go jumping one to the next one, not expecting to sort of clear any. But certain sections the bike will be very slow, certain sections it will excel.
Fatigue's probably another huge thing, whereas it only takes us 2 hours, it's probably going to take him a lot longer.
Not planning on going in to win, not even planning on going in sort of doing a good time, but it's more the fact that what I've been doing shows people that you can challenge life. Most people just appreciate that, getting in and having a go and doing what I do and being a little bit out of the norm.
I think he's mental enough to make it, for sure. I don't know if the bike's going to make it, and I don't know if he's going to make it in time. You know, there's a 4-hour cap to get there.
Once he gets moving, I think he'll be right. I reckon he'll get there. It's just like Josh said, in the time, you know.
I know the capabilities of the bike, and I'm not there to try and take on these sort of guys. That's not my aim. Aim is that you can take on challenges and hit them head on. It's definitely one off the bucket list.
Well, that's another edition of Aussie Bikers wrapped up, but wait, there's more. Head over to aussiebikers.com for more videos, news, events, photos and discussion. And don't forget to sign up to the mailing list for updates and special offers. We'll see you next time. Shiny side up.